I quit drinking 3 years ago. It is still one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And I figured on the anniversary of the first video that I made detailing and opening up about my sobriety, I would make a follow-up video, talk about some of the additional things that I've realized. And I also wanted to answer some questions from you. I had a couple of inquiries about what it's like being sober, how I adjust to it, and I want to provide. I may also have a secret guest, so keep your eyes peeled. This has kind of unintentionally been a year since I last made my first video. I was looking at when I made it and it was April 21st and I'm filming this on April 23rd, so that's crazy. The universe was calling me. Much like it was telling me to get sober, the universe was telling me, make a follow-up video. Let's talk about what I've been up to this past year. There is something that I have noticed going on, at least in New York City, and maybe it's because my friend group is getting older, but I think that this actually has to do a little bit with the generation below me, but I find that less people are drinking now. Maybe it's just because I'm hyper-focused on it, I'm kind of fixated on it, it has become a part of my identity, being the sober one, but I have noticed that a lot less people are drinking. For example, there's a club shutting down in Brooklyn, and I was talking to one of my friends who worked in kind of like an adjacent bar, and I was so surprised that this club was closing. I thought it was so popular, and he said, when I worked at my bar, which was pretty comparable in space and performing artists, he said barely anybody bought alcohol. We could barely make money because nobody was drinking. And I've since been to bars to celebrate fans' birthdays. I've since been around, and it's so much less bodies in that place than when I was drinking. So I feel like it's something that's happening. I feel like when I'm dealing with people now, when I talk to people and just in casual conversation, they say, oh, I stopped drinking about a month ago. One of my very good friends that I used to work with, she reached out to me and she said, I quit drinking about a month ago. And it's just, I feel like so many different patterns are making people want to choose not to drink. And it's beneficial ultimately. You're not really losing anything. And I think that's great. So that's one thing that I've noticed in the past year. I also find that psychologically, it's been a lot easier to quit other habits, other compulsions, I guess. Right now, I'm in the process of quitting sugar for like a month. I want to try it out. And this is the similar way that I quit drinking and also smoking. I made a whole video talking about quitting smoking. So if you're curious about that, I know I reference it in the last video quite a bit, talking about the steps that I did to quit smoking. But for me, I have to have a regimented mind of 1 month. And then I feel like once I do that 1 month, I'm able to take that stepping stone and implement it for further months. So right now I'm doing 1 month of no sugar, refined sugar. Also taking a month off from wheat, so no bread, no pasta, which is so hard for me. I found that since I have quit something that was difficult, which is drinking, I am psychologically able to put myself into the position of when I quit drinking, when I quit smoking, and knowing that I will ultimately come out the other end just fine. It is something that is doable. It's something that I am capable of. So when I want to enforce a new habit or enforce something in like a positive way, as hard as it is, those initial hurdles, I know that I've been through it before and I can do it. So yeah, I've just found that that's been really much easier. Though I will say, I've thought about quitting coffee, and that's something I'm not ready to do yet. I'm so not ready. I want to do it, but I don't know if I can. And then another thing that I feel like I did not hone in on enough in my previous video was how much money I have saved. I'm sorry. When I tell you, I had to take an Uber home the other day. It was $25 on a Tuesday. Not even that late. $25. Short destination. My eyes almost fell out of my head. Trains were messed up. That was the only reason I took it. Other than that, I usually don't take an Uber. It's not even actual drinking that causes expenses. It's the outlying factors. I bought a drink for my friend on his birthday. It was $17, which is, I would say, median price in New York City, unless you're getting a beer, which they have a lot of specials for that. But if you want to get a cocktail of sorts or some sort of mixed drink, glass of wine is even more, I find. So one drink, let's say, is $17. And then start to get a little flirty with it. You start to have a little bit of fun with it, right? 3 drinks, I would say that was enough to kind of get me a little tipsy when I was drinking, right? And then people start saying, do you want to go here? Do you want to do that? Do you want to see this? Yes. Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. Couldn't even imagine my world without doing that. And all of these expenses would add up. So when I would wake up after a night out, I would have spent probably $200. How? I think about how much money I have saved. I've probably gone on a trip with that money that I would have spent drinking. And I briefly alluded to it in the first video, but I really need to tell you, you save so much money. Okay, so let's talk about some questions that I have from you all, and I'll try to make these as condensed and easy to understand answers as possible. The first question is what are your favorite drinks to drink when going out with friends now? Soda, like soda water, not, I don't drink Pepsi or anything like that, Coke or anything like that. Just seltzer water is always a good one. Lots of places now, especially in New York City, like I said, the trend of people not drinking is becoming so much more apparent. Lots of places offer mocktails now. They're suspiciously still as expensive as a alcoholic drink, but I guess you still gotta make money. Soda bitters is also a popular thing. It has like a small percentage of alcohol in it, but it just gives you a little bit of that cocktail taste. Bitters are often what they put in old fashions, for example. So you kind of have that little like, oh, oh, I'm out here having a ball with the girls. But I love seltzer, so I can't really say too much, but that's really been my alternative. When you quit smoking and drinking, did you get any new addictions in their place, like chocolate or soda? Not that I can remember. I didn't have anything that I used as a substitute, but I know that that's a very common thing for a lot of people who are getting rid of these addictions in their life. I have a really good friend who she was quitting doing anything and she turned to sugar like you wouldn't believe. It's that immediate rush. It's that kind of woo. I feel something. I mentioned in the first video that my phone probably has been an issue because, again, I do have so much more time to myself. The time that I was using to go out, drink, socialize a little bit more, I feel like I'm ditching that for a night in sometimes. And what does that mean? Sometimes it's watching a movie. A lot of times it's reading, working out. But a lot of times it's just scrolling on my phone, which I have found ways to better myself in that. But I would say as far as like an instant substitution, it was probably my phone. What was the hardest week of all your sobriety attempts? The first week is always very hard. I would say around holidays, it's always hard because there's just such permission to drink around then, slightly expected. I'd also say that when going on vacation, that's the hardest week, especially internationally when I want to drink, say, a drink from that country. When I was in Japan, it was killing me not to have like traditional sake in one of these really amazing bars that they have. Oleg and I didn't even really stop in any of these fantastic bars that they have because we wanted to. We were like, oh, should we allow ourselves one drink? Thinking like, okay, we're just gonna do a little testing and that's it. And then the day came to do it and we just couldn't do it, especially because I want to partake in traditions of a country. A lot of times bars, food is a huge part of traveling, and that is always really hard when I feel like I'm like half participating in it. And because I'm relaxed and I want to have fun, I want to indulge, but I just can't do it yet. Why cut it out completely? Is there a worry that one night of drinking will lead to more? Great question. Yeah, it kind of is, I would say. I talked about this a little bit more in my quitting smoking video because that was more of a vice that I had quit, then I went back to, then I quit again, and that was my relationship with that. For me, drinking, I basically did a month and then I went back to it and I drank, and then I did 3 months and then I felt, oh, okay, this feels really good. And then I went back to it and I drank, and then I just decided to go cold turkey quitting drinking for the foreseeable future. I think that I would allow myself just the comfort of drinking every so often, and it would slowly develop into a way that doesn't feel healthy for me. So yeah, I guess I'm a little nervous of it going back to where it began. And I think a lot of people who drank pretty consistently have that. What is the best thing sobriety brought you? Amazing mornings. I feel great every day. I look at my skin, it feels healthier. I look at my hair, it feels healthier. I just feel amazing. I was thinking about it in the shower. Since I was probably 15 years old, this is the first time in my life that my body has been absolutely free of everything. Cigarettes, any other substances, alcohol. My body has nothing in it right now. I'm basically like a newborn baby. It's wild to me that right now my body is at its cleanest. So I think that that is the best feeling for me, just having that absolute cleanse in my body and knowing that if I put healthy food in it, it's gonna just feel much more enriched and alive. That, hands down, is the best feeling. I just hate the feeling of being hungover. It's so bad. This is a great question. How do you deal with pressure from friends who want you to drink? And then the commenter goes on to say, I have one friend in particular who I'm concerned about when I finally see him. I understand where he's coming from because we've known each other for most of our lives, and drinking has often been a part of that. It's just such a part of socializing that I'm afraid I'll cave into the peer pressure. It's really tough, I'll be honest. Especially if your friend group or your friend were notorious for going out. They will never understand what the meditation of not drinking feels like and why you wouldn't want to compromise it. I've talked about this in the first video. I have amazing friends. They're totally understanding, but I am boring. I'm very boring now. I know that once it hits a certain hour, I know that everybody else is absolutely tanked, having the time of their life. They're screaming in my ear. You know, they got warm alcohol breath. But just understanding where you want your relationship to ultimately go, that you want it and you understand it to be so much more than the alcohol-driven or the substance-driven relationship that you two have. My best friend, we used to drink like crazy together. We would drink, we would go from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar to bar to bar. Oh my God, we would drink like crazy. And now I see him and we have other things that make us happy. We go on long walks together, we talk, and nothing about our relationship is affected aside from we're both happy that we don't drink that often. Or I mean, he doesn't drink that often. I don't drink, his son is saying. I think once you put into perspective how important it is for you, the person will hopefully understand. People still give me shit, but that's fine. That's fine. I just let it roll off and I say, yeah, listen, you're vomiting right now in the street and I am gonna go home. How do you deal with cravings? Yeah, there's definitely some cravings still, even 3 years in. I don't think about it often at all, but on a nice summer night, I think of a nice icy cocktail, walking, having it in my hand. I think about that. And then the way that I curb my cravings, and I do this similarly with smoking, I just think how bad I'm gonna feel in the morning, how raspy my throat's gonna feel, how my skin, I'm gonna feel like my lines right here are just deep and penetrated in. And that is the best way to deal with cravings. Truly, just think about your worst. Do you smoke/consume weed? I don't. I used to. I don't now. I know people who have substituted weed. It's helped quite a bit. I've cut everything out. Everything. It did take a little while. I still needed buffers, right, to go out and to participate in the world, but now I don't have anything in my system. But I know it's worked for some people. I just used to get really, really paranoid, so yeah. What's the drink you miss the most? Well, my drink of choice was always gin and tonic, because I was the classiest lady. I also love a good wine, orange wine, a nice chilled orange wine, or a mixed drink that has a stunning color to it, an old-fashioned. Any of those drinks I used to love. I kind of got really sick of beer towards the end. I just hated the way that it made me feel. I also love hot toddies too. In the wintertime, a hot toddy, You can't beat it. Would love your tips for adjusting to events that would normally call for social drinking, work socials, weddings, etc. Oh yeah, this one is a tough one. It's not easy. Let me tell you what. I will say this. I have stopped dancing like I used to. Well, I have a few. I'm cutting a rug, okay? I'm getting out there and I'm dancing. I am front line of that dance floor. And I stumbled across a video of me just letting it go. And I will put this on the internet, but I just want to let you know like how I was really letting it go. I'm gregarious and I am wild when I drink. So that's that. The best way that I have approached these things is always having a plan for either that night or the day after, say that you're at a wedding. I always say, I have something planned, right? I have something planned for tomorrow. Book something. Or if it's like a work event, say I have to do something tomorrow morning, so I don't want to drink. I got to go early. Always having something planned is kind of the best way to get out of it, and also the best way to feel like you're still giving time, you're still giving attention, you're still giving emotion to this situation, but you are also kind of safeguarding that part of you that needs to be safe. In my difficult months, I often turn to books to find solace and answers. Have there been books that you've turned to during your journey? I would say, as far as like uplifting books that have encouraged me in my journey, maybe like the book Wild helped a lot, dealing with addiction and how we solve addiction in our lives, what extremes we go to sort of patch up problems that we see within ourselves. It's about a woman hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. Pretty popular book. I was really moved by that. But I would say probably one of the most helpful things in my sobriety journey is watching movies or reading books where people are just going nuts. Just watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and as fun and as vividly wild of a movie that is, I feel like I see that now and I think, oh my God. I mean, I wasn't living life to that extreme, but there was definitely moments. So I think that helps a lot. Just always constantly reinforcing that I never want to be back in that position again of really not making the correct judgments for myself. Does Oleg still drink? If so, did this ever cause tension? Well, I might have a special guest right now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at this guest that I've just... Isn't that crazy? I'm a genie in disguise. Anyway, the question pertaining to Oleg is, does Oleg still drink? If so, did this ever cause tension? Well, Oleg, do you still drink?
It does not cause tension because I do not drink.
Wow. When I made my video last year, it was in April. So you had just quit drinking.
First month.
Yeah, because you quit when?
March.
Yeah, March. St. Patrick's Day last year.
Last Guinness.
Yeah. And did you start with it like a month that you set for yourself, right?
Yeah, basically I started it for a month and then it just continued. And that's how you challenge yourself.
What would you say are some of the benefits that you've found from quitting drinking?
Well, only the benefits.
Yeah.
There's no benefits being drinker. That's all I can say. You can go deep down and in a long conversation, but there is no benefits.
Have you found any disadvantages?
No, really.
Have you
it's
ever felt...
quite opposite in the morning, especially the day after.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the day after when I'm not drinking, but the day after when you drink could be tough.
And you weren't really dancing on the dance floor like I was, so it wasn't...
I was.
a little bit. Oleg would dance. He would cut a rug too, baby, okay? What's a drink that you miss the most? Do you miss any drinks?
Probably old-fashioned.
I said old-fashioned too.
Whiskey sour.
Yes. Oh, whiskey sour. Yeah, he used to work in a whiskey bar, so...
Oh, that was a long time ago.
A long time ago, so, I mean, he was constantly around it, but I think you had much more of a reverence for drinking, whereas maybe I was like, I just like drinking. What made you cut it out?
Headaches in the morning. Just rough headaches in the morning next day.
How much money would you say that you saved?
Oh, a lot.
What would you put it on?
I have what I say sometimes. When I spend money on something else, I say I could have spent this money on alcohol and cigarettes. So
yeah.
they kind of justify the purchase.
Yeah.
That's how I treat myself.
That's a beautiful mathematical equation.
Yeah, you could have spent this money on cigarettes and alcohol.
You've also quit something else as well, right?
Well, cigarettes. Cigarettes, it's been 5 years. So the March 2020, quit cigarettes, and the March 2024, I quit alcohol. So it's always anniversary in March.
We're boring.
It's crazy. No sugar, no bread this month.
Yeah, I was just talking about that. I just said how psychologically, now that I've quit one thing, I'm much more capable of quitting something else. I feel like once I took that initial step, now quitting sugar or quitting wheat, or I said I'm not going to be able to quit coffee. He quit coffee once.
For a year in 2023.
Yeah, which is unbelievable to me because I truly feel sick from not having coffee.
I don't know what's going to be next. To me, just a challenge. No matter what, you have to have a challenge in yourself. In your life, you have to have a challenge, because if you don't challenge yourself, what's it all about?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Especially if it's, if it interferes with your life and you're not happy.
Yeah.
If you wake up drunk and you I have like a square head every morning when I drink night before. And it took me a while to learn it, but I quit it.
But your gorgeous wife said, I'm going to quit first. And he was still going out, and I was still at those parties.
Oh, I mean, I still can go to party or a bar. I just don't have to drink anymore.
Yeah, he has much less of a problem than I do. My attention span for wanting to be there is a little bit lower than his. He'll still go out, so.
But yeah, I mean.
He'll support friends. So I guess that's our inspirational last little quarter of the video, to let you know that not only am I doing this on a single journey, but I also have Oleg doing it, and I didn't force him to do it, I promise. It was his own decision, and I think he's very proud of it. So
my advice is take care of yourself as early as possible. Just as early as possible, and you'll be happy.
But anyway, I feel like this video has gone on very, very long. Maybe I'll do this a tradition every once a year, follow in, see how we're doing now that I have a partner in crime, not only in life, but in sobriety.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. You can do it. We can help. Anyway, you guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you
In the next one.
in the next one. I thought you were going to say you want to try You Guys Are Wonderful, You're Fabulous?
No, it's okay.
Come on, Oleg.
You already said that.
Do it.
Bye.